Hi. Software-defined network or SDN is one of the most trending technologies now in the IT world. Almost all IT vendors and service providers are currently working on building and developing their own SDN solutions to meet their customer requirements. One of the latest products that we just started providing to our customers is Cisco DNA. I'm Khalid Awadallah. I had the chance to get into Cisco DNA, and I found that most of Cisco intro videos and documents on the internet are based on marketing and sales materials, and yet they don't provide the basic technical knowledge that technical folks may need to start deep digging into their new technology. In this series, I will demonstrate a comprehensive technical introduction along with some basic features of Cisco DNA. Stay tuned. Hi again. Welcome to the first episode of this series. In this episode, we will discuss SDN introduction, digital network requirements and challenges, DNA Center terminologies, and DNA Center component. First part of this episode talks about what is software-defined network or SDN. Simply, for the current switches and routers, we have into the router a control plane, data plane, and management plane. The management plane, firstly, is like the brain that is used to manage your device using either CLI or any kind of management systems like SolarWinds or Cisco Pi. For control plane, this is the plane that is responsible for routing protocols, for access list processing, for example. And we have the data plane. This is the plane that is responsible for forwarding customer data. This is the normal approach that vendors are using nowadays in network devices. What is the idea of SDN? SDN is the idea of separating the management plane and control plane in a part and the data plane in the other part. So you can have lightweight devices that can be managed by external system called SDN controller, and these devices are only responsible for data plane. So, for example, if you have, they call it usually white box router, for example. If you have a white box router, the white box router is a router that doesn't have any kind of processing except data processing. It doesn't have any kind of control tables like routing protocols or BGP tables or AIGRP tables. It just has the forwarding table. Meanwhile, SDN controller is responsible for processing all kind of data to produce this forwarding table and to be sent to this white box router. So, just for conclusion, this is what we have before SDN, and this is what we have after SDN. For Cisco, they didn't like this approach for their LAN devices. Cisco claimed that they have a very powerful switches with a very powerful control plane and very powerful management plane, and they don't want to get rid of these planes for their devices. So, this is the normal routers and switches for Cisco. It has management plane, control plane, and data plane. And Cisco offloaded the management plane and control plane to what they call SDN controller, which in our case is the DNA Center. And they kept some of control plane functionality on their boxes along with data plane for data forwarding. Any SDN solution should have multiple features. It should have GUI centralized controller. It should guarantee the separation of control and data plan. SDN controller in general works as orchestration for the whole network. So theoretically, SDN controller should control all network devices like switches, routers, firewalls, wireless controllers. Although this is not the case for DNA Center, but at least this is the roadmap for DNA Center. Any SDN controller, to be successful, it must support automation, and also it must support application visibility. What is the digital network? For most organizations, digital network means automation and assurance. Automation means that you can configure your own devices by just one click, or maybe without any kind of clicking, like Cisco plug and play. So you just plug in your device into the network, then it will be configured and work properly. Also, digital network should support assurance. Assurance means to have deep visibility over your own applications and your own users. This is the case actually for DNA Center. This feature DNA Center can provide you. It can give you a full visibility over your own applications and over your own users. So simply, you can know which user is using which applications in which time. Also, digital network, one of the requirements for digital network is to support security and compliance. And also Cisco claims that DNA Center can support compliance and can support security feature. Also, one of the main requirements for digital network is to have insights and experiences. What that means? That means that you need your SDN controller, for example, to learn about your network. Not just it's a configurable management system that you can configure and it applies your configuration. No. DNA Center can learn from your network and it can act accordingly without your intervention. So it has some kind of smartness. What are the network challenges for digital organizations? According to Cisco statistics, digital network has multiple operational challenges that 95% of changes are performed manually, which consumes most of your OPEX or operational cost. According to also Cisco statistics, that 70% of your security policy violations are due to human errors. So if you can just eliminate this factor of human errors, you can save 70% of your security breaches. Also, according to Cisco statistics, that 75% of your OPEX are spent on configuration and troubleshooting. So if you can get automation features and the powerful automation features from SDN controller like DNA Center, you can save most of this OPEX. In general, Cisco has many SDN products. It has SDN product for one, which called Cisco Virtella, and they call it SD1 Cisco Virtella. Also, the famous SDN solution for data centers, Cisco ACI. It has SDN LAN solutions or what they commonly call SD Access solution, which is Cisco DNA Center. And also for small businesses, they have Cisco Meraki, including WAN, LAN, WLAN, and security, and some other features. But Cisco Meraki is only for small businesses, not suitable for big companies and big institutions. According to Cisco statistics, DNA Center can help you to save about 67% of your operational cost, to increase your network agility by 80%, and to protect your network by increased percentage of 48%. Cisco DNA Center in general gives you many features and many advantages. Like, it can give you the ability to configure your network at the speed of software. It can see and act on all threats. Of course, this is theoretically, it was nothing like that. But anyway, this is Cisco allegations. Also, DNA Center can predict issues before they happen by using the assurance, and we will talk a lot about this assurance module. Cisco DNA Center are using mainly Cisco Catalyst 9K switches, which have powerful assets to support all DNA features. However, some of other switches and routers are supported in DNA Center. You can check the compatibility matrix on Cisco website. but Cisco focuses on Cat9K, which we will talk about later, because they are suitable for DNA. Their programmable ASICs can support almost all features of Cisco DNA with the proper license. According to Cisco, and because DNA Center can gives you all of these features, because of these all features, it's anticipated to decrease your operational cost by a good amount. Now we will talk about DNA Center terminologies. DNA Center are using many terminologies or keywords that sometimes they make confusion for many people. So here we are about to illustrate some of these terminologies to make things easier when you read any document related to DNA Center. Firstly, the definition of underlay and overlay network. As we can see, underlay network is the normal network with all cables, with IPs, with VLANs, with routing protocols, with everything. So simply we can call it the physical network. This is the basic connectivity of all my network. And on the right side, this is the overlay network. Overlay network is the logical network that built over the underlay network. For example, when you have a service provider core and you have MPLS running over this core and you have multi-protocol BGP, then you create an MPLS VPN for your customer. The MPLS VPN itself is an overlay network because it's built over the service provider core network, while the service provider core network, the underlay network, has many VLANs, many IPs that this MPLS VPN can't see. So, for example, your customer can't see your core routers, although without your core routers, you can't build the customer MPLS VPN. So, the MPLS VPN is one of the overlay networks. The overlay network, Cisco call it fabric. Here, the fabric components from Cisco perspective or from DNA perspective consists of two rules for switches: the edge node and the border node. Although in the underlay network, you have your access layer, distribution layer, and core layer. But for overlay network, it has only two components, or it focuses only over two components: the edge node and the border node. According to Cisco DNA design, Cisco considers that distribution or aggregation layer is just a layer for connectivity. DNA Center doesn't use this layer for anything other than the network connectivity. Another very important concept that Cisco uses for Cisco DNA Center is network segmentation. Network segmentation can be described as the process of breaking down or splitting a single large network with a single routing table into any number of smaller networks or zones, either virtually or logically. It is built on combining of many technologies. Actually, Cisco uses many technologies combined together, to achieve this concept of network segmentation. What are these technologies? Firstly, the LISP or Locator Identifier Separation Protocol. This protocol is used for control plane only. The VXLAN technology or VXLAN tunneling, it is used for data plane. Also, Cisco uses SGT or Scalable Group Tag to be carried inside VXLAN header for policy control plane. And of course, SGT is based on Cisco TrustSec technology. Very important point that Cisco Identity Service Engine or Cisco IC integration is mandatory with DNA Center to achieve this network segmentation. Also, Cisco has another concept called virtual network. Simply, virtual network is a VRF, can be created inside the fabric. So in a nutshell, you have your underlay network, which is the network components with physical connectivity with VLANs, IPs, everything. and you build an overlay network which called DNA fabric over this underlay network to gain connectivity between certain devices in the network like edge nodes and border nodes. Meanwhile, you can separate this fabric into multiple virtual networks using network segmentation. Network segmentation combines multiple technologies to work together to achieve this goal. These technologies are Cisco Lisp, VXLAN, Scalable Group Tag or Cisco TrustSec, and remember that Cisco ICE integration is mandatory to achieve this feature. That's it for network segmentation. Another important point, because many people are confused about this point, that to use network segmentation, it's possible, although I don't recommend it for now because it has multiple bugs and it's not mature yet. But the question is, can you use Cisco DNA Center without network segmentation? The answer is yes, you can. Network segmentation is only one feature, although it is the biggest feature of DNA Center, but at last it's one feature of Cisco DNA Center. If you want to use it, that's okay. If you don't want to use it, also that's okay. You can use all of the other features of Cisco DNA Center without using network segmentation. And you will achieve all kinds of automations, all kinds of assurance, troubleshooting, network visibility, everything. One last point related to Cisco DNA Center terminologies, the wireless solutions. You have two flavors of wireless solutions using Cisco DNA Center. The first one is called over the top. The second one is called full integrated wireless solution. The over the top, that means you will use the Cisco DNA fabric if you are using fabric as only a transport network for wireless components. Over the top means that wireless controllers and wireless solution are not fully integrated into the Cisco DNA Center, which means you will have your own wireless controller, you will have your own access points. These components are connected together using CABWeb. This is the normal standard approach of Cisco Unified Wireless Solution. Here, DNA Center can manage the wireless controller. It can configure wireless controller. It can create SSIDs. It can push all kinds of configuration and do all management services for wireless controller. But however, wireless controller still controls everything related to access points. DNA Center doesn't have anything to do with access points. Also in this solution over top, DNA Center can do some features for access points to make things easier for wireless controller. You can check all of this information in Cisco validated design for DNA Center. The other solution for wireless over DNA Center is fully integrated wireless LAN solution. In such case, wireless controller is still controlling the access points, but access points here will participate in the DNA fabric. It will be responsible for marking the user's traffic with VXLAN tags and be forwarded to the switch, the uplink switch. Then it's forwarded inside the VXLAN tunnel. In this solution, CABWeb tunnel, which is built between access points and wireless controller, is used only for management traffic and control traffic. No data is forwarded inside this CABWeb tunnel. The fourth and last part of this episode is about DNA Center components. What are components of this complete solution? We have many components of this complete solution. We have the DNA Center appliance itself. It's a UCS server designed specially as per Cisco for DNA Center. It has some special hardware, and no virtual image of Cisco DNA Center. So you must buy this appliance, and we will talk later about part numbers of this appliance and the hardware specs. Then you have the DNA Center software itself. It's already installed over this. So you buy it installed and it's ready to work. Just you will do some initial setup configuration. Of course, it has all features that makes your network ready to be digital. It has lots of features for automation, security, and monitoring. it can be connected to other external systems using northbound APIs. Cisco DNA Center software itself consists of 4 main modules. The first module is provisioning module. It's used to design your network. The second module is policy. It's used for creating your policies for your network. Mainly this module is responsible for 2 main things. Firstly, network segmentation. Secondly, quality of service policies. Cisco IC integration is mandatory to achieve the network segmentation, as I have mentioned before. If you don't have Cisco ICE, or like my case with my customer, that the customer has Cisco ICE but he doesn't want to integrate it with DNA yet, so network segmentation cannot be achieved. Many other features can be achieved without ICE integration. So without ICE integration, you will lose 1 or 2 main features only. One of them is network segmentation. Also, the provisioning module, it's used for apply configuration and templates. And the last module, and the very powerful module for monitoring and for troubleshooting, is a DNA Center Assurance module. It's used for proactive monitoring and applications analysis. Cisco Assurance is using a software module from Cisco. It's embedded already inside Cisco DNA Center. It's called Cisco Network Data Platform. It's used for collecting all telemetry data from DNA Center devices, switches and routers, access points, etc. Then DNA Center analyze them and produce some kind of reporting. And a very important point, that Cisco IC is not included into Cisco DNA Center. So you need to buy and configure Cisco IC separately from Cisco DNA Center. Another point, that you cannot configure Cisco IC from Cisco DNA Center. So far, they are totally 2 separated systems that can be just integrated together using APIs, or for IC experts, the BEX grant. We have many switches are working with Cisco DNA Center, especially Cisco Cat 9K. You can check all the supported platforms and all supported iOS versions for Cisco DNA from Cisco website. Just type on Google Cisco DNA compatibility matrix. You will find an Excel sheet including everything about compatibility matrix with Cisco DNA Center. Multiple routers are supported in Cisco DNA Center to be managed using Cisco DNA Center. It's not an SD-WAN solution. It can only manage routers for pushing configuration and for getting information about monitoring and about troubleshooting. But Cisco DNA Center so far cannot manage Viptela routers. And so far, Viptela and DNA Center are totally separated systems. Although for the roadmap, as I know, maybe by mid or end of 2019, they will be integrated together under the Cisco DNA Center. And of course, all of access points and wireless controllers currently are supported under DNA umbrella. Finally, this is the full picture of DNA. The actual network may be different. You have your wired and wireless users. You have your access points, access switches, and core switches. Here, access points, as we mentioned, you have 2 options. You can use over-the-top solution, which means access points are not participating in the DNA fabric anyway, and fully integrated DNA wireless solution, which means that access points will encapsulate the traffic into the appropriate VXLAN and forward it to the switch. Then you have your access switches, which Cisco call edge nodes, and these access switches are aggregated together into a core switch, which Cisco call border node. Here, if you have an aggregation layer or distribution layer, it doesn't have anything to do with the Cisco DNA fabric. So here we eliminated it from this drawing, because if you have it, it will provide only connectivity between core switches and access switches, or between edge nodes and border nodes. Then you will have your, for example, WAN routers and the MPLS network to reach the DNA center. Usually DNA center should be centralized somewhere in a data center. For my customer case, it will be centralized in a data center. The fabric components and the DNA center can be connected together using MPLS, no problem. Although there is no information now for how much delay or what should be the packet loss between the fabric components and DNA center, I asked Cisco directly and I didn't get an answer. I didn't get any numbers. But I believe it will depend on the network itself or the network speed itself. Also, you should have Cisco ICE if you need some features like deep assurance features and like network segmentation. And you will have your wireless controller, whether it will be over the top or it will be fully integrated with DNA Center. You have an optional node called control node. This node has a very special task to do with network segmentation. You can check for it on Cisco validated design for DNA Center. Thank you for watching this and stay tuned for my next episode.